In the vast landscape of human experience, there lies a universal struggle that binds us all, a struggle between the self we project to the world and the deeper, often hidden layers of our consciousness. This conflict is the heart of Franz Kafka's work, and while his stories are riddled with absurdity, alienation, and darkness, they offer profound insights into the human condition. Kafka's genius lies not in offering clear answers, but in revealing the questions we must ask of ourselves if we are to embark on a journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Kafka's stories present a psychological landscape filled with confusion, anxiety, and alienation. In works like The Trial and The Metamorphosis, his characters are thrust into bizarre and disorienting situations that reflect the inner turmoil of the human soul. But beneath this chaos lies a deeper truth. The external world is often a mirror of our internal world, and the only way to transcend the suffering that Kafka so vividly portrays is to confront the very nature of who we are, beyond the roles and expectations imposed by society. One of the most striking aspects of Kafka's writing is his depiction of the struggle between the individual and the overwhelming forces of society. In The Trial, Joseph K. is arrested without being told why, and the entire legal system he finds himself in is absurd, faceless, and unyielding. For many readers, the story evokes feelings of helplessness, an overwhelming sense of powerlessness in the face of bureaucracy, authority, and the cold, impersonal forces of the world. But what if we look at this not just as a critique of society, but as a reflection of the forces within ourselves? The trial that Kafka's characters face is not simply one imposed from the outside. It is the internal trial of self-doubt, guilt, and confusion that we all experience as we struggle to understand our place in the world. The complexity of this internal world, and our inability to fully comprehend it, is often what leads us to live in a state of constant anxiety and frustration. Kafka's characters embody what Carl Jung referred to as the shadow, those parts of ourselves that we suppress, ignore, or deny because they are uncomfortable or difficult to face. In his own way, Kafka shows us that the true trial of life is not external, but internal. It is not the trial of the law or society that matters most, but the trial of coming to terms with who we truly are, beyond the masks we wear and the roles we play. To move toward self-improvement, we must first confront our shadow. This means accepting those aspects of ourselves that we may have spent our whole lives avoiding, our fears, insecurities, failures, and even our darker desires. Just as Kafka's characters are trapped by their inability to acknowledge the truth of their own situations, so too are we often trapped by our unwillingness to confront the truth of our own psyches. Self-improvement begins when we step into the discomfort of self-awareness. This is where Kafka's work, though bleak and full of existential despair, offers a profound path forward. The absurdity and alienation Kafka portrays can be seen as a metaphor for the journey of personal growth. Growth comes not from escaping the chaos of life, but from learning how to navigate it with clarity and integrity. In The Metamorphosis, Gregor Samsa wakes up one morning to find himself transformed into a giant insect. At first, his transformation is a source of horror, but as the story progresses, we come to realize that Gregor's physical metamorphosis is a reflection of his internal state, his feelings of alienation, worthlessness, and his inability to connect with his true self. His family, too, is caught in their own illusions, unable to accept the transformation for what it is, a painful but necessary step in Gregor's journey towards self-knowledge. Just as Gregor's outward transformation mirrors his inner turmoil, so too do the challenges we face in life often reflect deeper, unresolved issues within ourselves. By confronting these issues, no matter how painful or uncomfortable, we unlock the potential for growth and self-discovery. Kafka's characters, though often trapped in their own confusion and suffering, show us that the first step toward freedom is acceptance. acceptance of the uncomfortable truths we hide from ourselves. But Kafka's work isn't just about suffering. Beneath the layers of absurdity and alienation is a deep exploration of the possibility for transformation. Kafka's characters often find themselves in desperate situations, yet through their suffering, they are given the opportunity to confront the very heart of their being. This is where his work intersects with the philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche, who believed that suffering and struggle were not obstacles to growth, but integral parts of the process. Nietzsche's concept of becoming, the idea that we must embrace the challenges of life in order to grow and evolve, resonates strongly with Kafka's work. Kafka's characters may never fully resolve their dilemmas, but in their struggles, they expose the truth of who they are. They do not retreat from their pain, but face it head-on. They are not victims of their circumstances, but participants in a deeper, more mysterious journey. In this way, Kafka offers a crucial lesson for us all. It is only by confronting our own suffering that we can truly grow. The path to self-improvement lies not in avoiding pain, but in accepting it as a necessary part of the human experience. Kafka also speaks to the alienation many of us feel in modern society. His characters often seem disconnected from the world around them, caught in a cycle of futile effort and endless confusion. In our own lives, it's easy to become caught in the same cycle, chasing external achievements or societal validation, while neglecting the internal work necessary for true fulfillment. Kafka's work reminds us that the external world is often a projection of our internal state. The more disconnected we are from ourselves, the more alienated we feel from the world. But this alienation is not a cause for despair. It is an invitation for introspection. The psychological message Kafka imparts is that in order to break free from the alienation we feel, we must reconnect with our authentic selves. This process of self-discovery is not easy. It requires us to strip away the layers of illusion we've built up over time. But once we begin this journey, we find that the answers we seek are not out there in the world, but within us. To truly evolve and reach our fullest potential, we must learn to embrace our inner contradictions, the parts of ourselves we've long suppressed or denied. Kafka's work may appear tragic, but it is also profoundly human. It reflects the ongoing struggle between who we are and who we are becoming. It is in this struggle that we find the seeds of transformation, the raw material from which we can create a deeper, more authentic version of ourselves. As we confront the darkness within our own psyches, as we face the contradictions and suffering that life presents, we open ourselves to the possibility of growth. Kafka's genius lies not in offering clear answers, but in pointing us toward the questions that, when asked, lead to true self-improvement and self-discovery. The more we are willing to face the uncomfortable truths about ourselves, the more we can break free from the psychological traps that hold us back and step into a more meaningful and fulfilling existence. As we confront the darkness within our own psyches, as we face the contradictions and suffering that life presents, we open ourselves to the possibility of growth. Kafka's genius lies not in offering clear answers, but in pointing us toward the questions that, when asked, lead to true self-improvement and self-discovery. The more we are willing to face the uncomfortable truths about ourselves, the more we can break free from the psychological traps that hold us back and step into a more meaningful and fulfilling existence. This journey of self-discovery is not linear, nor is it easy. Just as Kafka's characters are trapped in spirals of confusion and alienation, so too are we often caught in cycles of self-doubt and external pressure. But it is precisely through these cycles that we can begin to understand the profound power of self-acceptance and personal transformation. The key, as Kafka subtly suggests, is not to escape suffering, but to embrace it as a catalyst for growth. The act of embracing suffering brings us closer to a Nietzschean understanding of life. Nietzsche believed in the eternal recurrence, the idea that if we were to live our lives over and over, we should aim to live in such a way that we would gladly repeat it. This philosophy encourages us to live authentically, to engage with life fully, and to accept its inherent challenges. Kafka's work, in its bleak portrayal of the human condition, similarly invites us to face life's struggles with courage and commitment. For it is in the depths of struggle that we discover our truest selves. While Kafka's characters often seem lost in an absurd and indifferent world, their struggles carry a hidden potential for self-realization. This paradox is where Kafka's work diverges from simple despair and points toward something far more profound. In the very isolation and existential confusion his characters face, there is a potential for radical self-awareness. Through Kafka's lens, we begin to understand that our most difficult moments may hold the seeds of transformation. The journey of self-improvement is not about seeking a perfect life, free from suffering or struggle. Rather, it's about learning to live with complexity, to engage with our inner conflicts, and to acknowledge the parts of ourselves we've been avoiding. Kafka teaches us that it is only by fully embracing our own alienation, uncertainty, and discomfort that we can find true meaning. Through this confrontation, we are called to take responsibility for our own existence, to claim ownership over our thoughts, actions, and emotional responses, regardless of the chaos that may surround us. Much like Kafka's protagonists, we often find ourselves trapped by external expectations, social pressures, or internal doubts. But the difference between Kafka's world and our own lies in our ability to choose how we respond to these forces. We may not have control over every circumstance in our lives, but we can control our approach to them. In this way, Kafka's work mirrors the teachings of psychological resilience, accepting that while we cannot change every external condition, we can change our internal response to those conditions. Kafka's exploration of alienation and absurdity calls for a confrontation with the self. We are urged to strip away the illusion of certainty and embrace the messy, unpredictable, and often uncomfortable nature of being. It is only by stepping into this uncertainty that we can experience the true freedom that comes with self-awareness. The very act of questioning the world around us and reflecting on our place in it is itself a step toward liberation. In the trial, Joseph K. is caught in an endless cycle of futile attempts to understand the nature of his trial. His experience represents the existential quest for meaning that many of us face in life. Often, we find ourselves lost in the pursuit of clarity, caught up in the need for validation, success, or approval. But Kafka's story suggests that the more we seek these external markers of success, the more elusive they become. The trial never ends because the answers are not to be found in the outside world. They must be discovered within. By accepting that meaning cannot always be easily grasped, we free ourselves from the search for quick solutions and begin to see the beauty in life's inherent ambiguity. This acceptance, far from being a defeat, is an act of strength. It is the recognition that life is a process of becoming, not a static destination. It is a journey marked by growth, pain, learning, and discovery, one that requires us to develop the courage to face the unknown. Kafka's writings may seem to reflect an oppressive view of the world, but they also open up space for self-liberation. They challenge us to ask profound questions about the way we live and to reflect on the deeper, often hidden parts of our own psychology. By doing so, they point the way toward a kind of personal freedom that can only come through self-exploration and radical acceptance of our true selves. As we continue this journey of self-discovery, Kafka's work offers a valuable lesson that suffering, alienation, and confusion are not signs of failure, but opportunities for growth. Life does not owe us clarity or comfort, but it does offer us the chance to learn and transform through the experiences we face. Each challenge, each moment of confusion, is an invitation to look inward and ask, who am I really? What parts of myself have I been avoiding? What do I need to accept in order to grow? Kafka's characters may not always find answers, but they provide us with a mirror. They reflect the inner world that many of us keep hidden from view, and by observing their struggles, we are encouraged to examine our own. The answers may not always be clear, but the act of searching is in itself a form of personal growth. Through Kafka's lens, we begin to understand that the very darkness we fear holds within it the potential for profound transformation. It is only when we accept the complexities of our own minds, the contradictions within us, and the struggles we face, that we can begin to unlock the power of self-improvement. This process is not about escaping suffering, but about learning to engage with it, to use it as a stepping stone toward a deeper, more authentic life. In the end, Kafka's world is not one of hopelessness, but of possibility. It is in the very absurdity and complexity of life that we find the raw materials for growth. The darkness he portrays is not an end, but a beginning, a challenge to confront the parts of ourselves we have long ignored and to embrace the uncomfortable yet transformative journey of self-discovery. Through his stories, we are not just invited to witness the struggles of his characters, but to see ourselves within them, and to understand that the path to self-realization is not one of avoiding pain, but one of confronting and embracing it.